Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of his advocacy, how do brands, whether they are in hospitality or technology, stand out to get connected to the right audience? No other than Mr. Stevenson Donaldson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being part on Book 101 Review, Mr. Steven, as a connecting brands as well as marketing and experience. Can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm Steven Donaldson. I have a background in both economics and marketing, as well as city planning, and I've always been fascinated on what motivates individuals to make choices. And the what the things that we usually think about that are that people are motivated by rational thinking always, particularly in technology space, but it is not always true. Motivations are driven by what we believe are in our interests, and that belief can be driven by a whole lot of factors. And so understanding how you connect in branding and marketing with the customer and the audience you're trying to reach, as Daniel mentioned, whether it's hospitality or technology, means you have to spend some time understanding the motivations of those audiences and what they seek in their lives at a personal level as well as an economic level. And so we spend time in my firm, Radiant Brands, always diving deeply into audience assessment, market assessment, and looking at what seems to not be the mainstream, what seems to be the things that are really motivating people to identify with a particular brand or choice. And so those are the big influences that we put together, and visually and with words we create campaigns that theoretically draw people in and get them engaged with the brands we work with.
In a world where every brand claims to be innovative or a customer centric, how can a company discover, articulate a value proposition that is truly distinct and impossible to competitors to copy?
That's a great question. Right, and there's no such thing as no competitors. You're constantly competing for the interests and the eyeballs of your consumer. So the key thing is to understand not just your consumer or your customer audience, but look at who your competitors are and really understand how they are already engaging with this audience and how they present themselves. So that gives you an opportunity to redefine your brand a bit, to stand aside from what others are doing. And I can give you an example here of a company we worked with for many years and really built their brand up. It's a retail pet products consumer company, and they sell pet products at their stores. And what they did and what we did with them to differentiate them is we created the brand voice around uh, the company to be your pet, to really be the animals or the pets that you have talking to you about what you like. And we used illustrations that were unique that we created that stood out from all the photos the other competitive brands did. And when we work with them, we also push them to look at how healthy pet foods and healthy products can really be the unique aspect of their company. And it really took off for them. And over a 15-year period, they grew enormously throughout Northern and Southern California. And it was a great learning experience for us to see how we really could connect with the consumers, which were really their pets, um, in these stores.
We often think, well, branding is visual identity, But in your view, what is the most underutilized yet powerful element of a brand that truly make it stand out?
We know nowadays, I think that's a really great question again. Nowadays, we are, I'd say all of us spend enormous amount of time, probably half or more of our time on our smartphones or online, and we're getting TikTok videos or we're getting YouTube videos and shorts. And the part that really comes through, besides the visual, is the audio. How you use audio clues or reminders can be really powerful for brands, particularly in online media, because that's something you could hear without seeing and know it means that brand. And that we've actually worked in and looked at this. It goes all the way down to children. They know what these sounds mean. And if you look at large broadcasting brands and streaming brands, such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney, HBO, they all have their audio cue at the beginning of something they're showing. That will remind you, that audio cue will remind you the experience you had with what they showed you comes from them. And I think these are really important things to recognize in our multidimensional and multisensory world.
Sensational for sure. Simon Sinek made start with why famous. How does a brand move beyond a catchy why statement and embed that purpose into every single customer touchpoint from the first ad to the support call?
So how does a brand bring itself to do that? That is a
Yes.
really excellent question, because that level of engagement around the customer connection has to do with the mission within the company. So when we've done large branding projects with corporations, technology companies, how they view the importance of that customer relationship builds the model for engagement that they develop. I'll give you an example with Airbnb. Airbnb is a very unique company because it is bringing together both someone offering a space in their home or property to someone who is seeking that space. And it's very personal. You have to build trust on both sides of that equation so that the person coming to take your bedroom in your house for a night to stay in your city, um, how do you trust them? So building that rapport online comes from how you engage with people on both sides of that equation in online. But also, if you contact Airbnb, they always have someone who responds immediately. They reach out right away to make sure if there's any problem to solve that problem. So it's a part of their brand in terms of making sure everyone's comfortable in their commitment to uh, renting a space or sharing a space. And I think that's extremely important for them overall because they're not selling anything. They're the intermediary in that transaction model, building trust around it.
Yes, definitely trust indeed. Psychographics over demographics. Everyone has a target demographics, but how do most successful brands go beyond age and income to understand their audience's psychographics, the anxieties, aspirations, and the unseen desires?
That is really a great question. I love that kind of question because from my background in economics and behavior, I've always looked at why did people pick certain things like certain car models, certain colors of cars. What are the choices there? And like, there's a combination of factors that give somebody a psychographic portrayal or portrait that can influence all these decisions. People, where they live, their age group, and their social media preferences start defining some of the choices they may want to make around things not even related to those. specific things. As I mentioned, a car brand, someone who is viewing themselves as a more rugged individual living in a location that requires them to be more outdoors, and they look at podcasts and view video content related to how self how you do it yourself projects. They may be much more susceptible to off-road four-wheel drive vehicles and pickup trucks. And psychographically, that ruggedness you want to portray through the brand to attract that psychographic market, that self-sufficiency component that they perceive themselves in. And that probably even translates to the kind of food they buy, how they, deal with their house and the design of their house. So these are all factors that come in from a self-perception level. And then you could get into the clothing category there. Where, do they wear LL Bean clothes? Do they wear a particular rugged type of boots? All these factors weigh in on that perception level. And if they go to national parks. So you start looking at all these factors and comparing them together, you can start creating a portrait of an individual and their choices.
And getting connected implies a two-way street. Beyond social media monitoring, what are the most effective yet often overlooked ways a brand can genuinely listen to its audience and let that insight shape its strategy?
Yes, I think that the brand's engagement online, paying attention to what customers say, how they engage with you, what they like, what they perceive preferences are, it's critical. And for example, the Trader Joe's brand of small stores, retail grocery, very unique because they carry mostly their own label. They're extremely customer sensitive. And so when customers respond to them about what they're carrying or not carrying, they actually get back to them quite quickly. And that has influenced how they shape and shift the products they carry and new products that they're seeking out to carry on in their brand, in their store. Another example of that I would suggest is there is uh, uh, a restaurant chain, small chain that is based in the United States called Cracker Barrel, and they redid their brand, their identity, taking out a character that was in the brand for over 50 years, a person leaning on the barrel, and the audience, the customers, reacted so dramatically that within 3 weeks, they reinstituted the old brand again. So the attachment to the brand was really owned by the customers. The customers' loyalty starts to become the influencing factor on where the brand is going. And that's extremely important for brands to be aware of. People do not want to be manipulated now. They want to feel like they're owners of the world they buy into.
Definitely, they own it. And for sure, they love it what they are buying. When trying to stand out, is it more powerful to be irreplaceable, hero to a small, passionate niche, or to water down your message for a broader appeal?
Oh, that's a great question. I love questions like that. Um, so it depends on what you are as a company. So the more you make your brand somewhat generic, you're competing with more other brands at that level. And then if you are competing, then you're fighting with price point. Because if you're so similar to other brands, you're going to really have challenges to differentiate yourself over that brand if someone can just buy something slightly less expensive than you. So that unique character that you create in a brand, a Versace brand, that price point you get for that brand because it's unique really says symbolically to the owner and those seeing them with that brand what it means. And you have to really clearly keep in mind what that factor is and what those factors are. Um, Another brand I would think of, Warby Parker, which is a company starting online, making inexpensive prescription glasses, way less than conventional prescriptions cost going to a regular optician or ophthalmologist. However, they started having more competitors online. So what did they do? They started creating stores. They have over 300 stores now. And the difference in these stores is you go in, you have a direct customer engagement with a representative in the store who knows who you are, who knows what you bought online. You can get fitted and try things on and know if they're going to work. They may even ship it to you later because they may not carry that frame in the store. But bringing together both the online experience and the in-store experience has given them a competitive edge at a price point that's affordable over other online brands.
Mr. Steven, as a connecting brands as well as a marketing and experience, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
My long-term goals,
Yes, please.
my long-term goals really, I mean, with my company, we keep we keep looking for a select group of clients to work with, and we want to continue to cultivate and build those relationships. But my long-term goals personally are to really do more speaking around branding and marketing, and to do more consulting with brands to advise management in the strategic way of looking at where their brand can go in the continually changing online world and influencer world. It's a time where you can't make 1 year plans and stay with them. Things may change overnight, and you have to be able to adjust and be flexible about how you're doing things. And I think also you have to understand in larger companies who your real spokespeople are, who your real brand representatives are. Those are the people who engage with the customers at some level. And paying attention to them gives you input on what the customers are seeking and where they're going. And for me, that's the learning process that branding is all about. Because I do think marketing and branding is a positive experience for customers and companies when they are aligning with each other so that everyone's getting what they want, they're happy with the results, and the companies are selling product well.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. Steven, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I would say I would see be a broad generalist, learn a lot about different areas, pay attention to uh, marketing from a behavioral perspective and what people are doing. Don't get lost in massive campaigns of bombardment, which only produce limited results. Figure out how to be different and stand out from the world that you're in.
Stand out for sure. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, geez. I'm thinking right now. Gosh, what book would be the book I would? Well, there's a great book called Made to Stick. It's really about building brands that have such loyalty they keep evolving over time with the customer. I would highly recommend that book. It's by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. Excellent book, and it's been updated last year. Made to Stick.
Hmm. Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Steven. What is the more meaningful leading indicator of the brand audience connection than vanity metrics like followers or likes? Is the retention, referral rate, or something else?
Uh, it's really a combination of somewhat of the attention that people give you, but what they say and how they connect with you. And I think it can change over time, but people are, when they share things and they share it with their friends, that influence, the influencers that come from that is the real world you're in. And people will continue to go to you online, and which gives you a lot of important signals about the value of what you're putting out there. And then I always read the commentary people make because that is incredibly powerful influence on what they see.
Incredible power indeed. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Steven, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast. Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Steven, how does a brand know when it times to significantly evolve and its messaging or positioning to stay connected?
When it needs to know
Yes,
how to
please.
evolve, I think when it starts seeing loss of traction and an evolution of customer base. And that's when you need to understand there's new language, new ways of being that you need to come out with. And one example I can give is Dunkin' Donuts for years was Dunkin' Donuts, and it was all about the donuts and the coffee. And about 4 years ago, they dropped the Dunkin', and now they've expanded their range of food and including healthier foods in all their stores. So that has now appealed to a broader audience. So
Indeed. And Mr. Steven Donaldson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world.
thank you. I look forward to listening to some of the other podcasts, and
Yes,
I'll look for this one as well. Thank you.
definitely. I'm inviting you to be my guest on Abstract Essay. And let's talk about another brands that make people, well, curious about how you promote a brand. So again, people, let's support Mr. Steven Donaldson. But before that, please, Mr. Steven, please ask the support of our listeners.
Yes.
Where please do invite our listeners to support you.
Oh, yes. I love them to support me and see what I'm saying and get some advice and experience going forward with their own branding projects and exploring into marketing realm.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Steven Donaldson because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering brands to come. So, Mr. Steven, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate your time as well.
More to come, people. See you soon.